We are live with episode 104 of the Start Build Grow Show.
104.
104,
Nice.
baby. Randy Brothers, my friend. What's good in the
Nice.
hood, man? How we doing?
104 episodes and it keeps getting better, man. We finally caught the attention of Mr. John Dye. We
Yes,
finally
No
got
way.
him
finally.
No,
to
no.
notice who we are and what we're
Yeah,
doing, and trapped him and paid him $1 million just to come on the
yeah,
show today.
dude.
But man, we're excited. This is going to be a great show. Great talent, man. I really love
Yeah,
what you're doing in the industry. You have a daily show now. I mean,
Well,
we have 104 episodes. He's going to trump us in like
yeah.
well,
going off
let me
every
say this,
day,
dude.
like getting it done, man. What's up, buddy?
So we did 40 of those, okay?
Yeah.
And we started during coronavirus, like when the quarantine started. And so Friday was actually the last of the Daily Show episodes. It's on a hiatus at the moment. Kind of unplanned but planned. I was like, you know what? I need to take a break.
Yeah.
Like I see everyone else in the office is all fresh, they're all like
Yeah,
bright-eyed, ready to go, and I'm just like over here like, dude, I am tired. Like this has
yeah.
been a long quarantine. And so we actually are transitioning out. We're going to be doing something starting June 2nd. It's going to be a twice a week deal for the Catalyst group still, but it's just going to be 2 times per week, not daily, man. Daily was killer.
Man,
Dude,
you were balling out though, man. That's pretty
respect,
impressive.
but
Yeah,
that was a
very
lot.
impressive. Me and Randy get tired with once a week, man. That's all we got in the tank.
Hey, but 104 guys once a week, commitment, consistency, like that's what it is though. And that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And that's you got to do what you can do. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter if it's this or you're doing, roof sales, whatever you're doing, like consistency is the key. And you guys have done that 104 episodes. That's hard to
Mm-hmm.
do. And I respect that. Kudos to you
I
guys.
appreciate that, man. How did you get into the game, the content game, the podcasting, the video content? How did that all get started?
So this is kind of in fact, one of your boys helped me out a little bit. I was in Colorado doing a boot camp. And so we started with the boot camps, and then Armando Jaycox, dude, hit me up when we were down there.
Yep.
He said, dude, yeah, Armando was like, hey, dude, let's go do a podcast. And I was like, all right, let's go do it. So we go into this. He's got this little studio rented out in like an old church somewhere.
I've been in there, man. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, too. It's a cool spot, dude.
Super cool. And so we sit down in there, and we're just like, I'm like, man, this is really awesome. Like we had this awesome conversation, and I'm like, man, I want to do more of these. So I go home and I called Armando already meant he's already
What's up, Armando?
Yeah, dude, he's killing it too, guys. Like Armando's doing some cool stuff. So I went home and I called my brother. My brother's a sound engineer, and I said, hey, dude, this is what I'm doing. What do I need? And he literally turns around and ships me like this mic and like all this stuff. Now I've gotten more mics, we've gotten more stuff, and he's just like, we've just built this into this. And it started out with the podcast, then Balance Claims and I started doing business together, and we started to do stuff, and we ended up getting a media company to produce our first 15 video episodes,
which are really well done. By
those
the way,
those are like really top notch. But I love those, and they're fun and they're cool, but it takes so long to go from content to deliverable. And I feel like we lose so much through that. And so Mondo wants his royalties. So
checks in the mail, bro. Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. Absolutely. So we went from there. Like I just started doing that. And then when the quarantine thing hit, I was like, all right, guys, like we got to do stuff. Like there's no way that we can just stop. And I don't want to, I wanted to help contractors. That's always been the key through all of this. Everything that we've done is to provide content. And so we went right into doing Zoom recorded like daily stuff. And then we would post those right up on a Facebook right away. And I was like, I really want to go live. And I wanted to do kind of like what you guys are doing. I didn't realize, you guys are using some of the same stuff that I've used in the past. And so we decided to go with the live show. The Catalyst group got involved, and I'm really thankful for the Catalyst group because that gives us such a cool opportunity to really work and expand and talk to a lot of different people. In that whole nonprofit education thing that they have going on is so cool. And they were all about it. So they really pushed it out and helped me get the content out. And now we're going to go to a twice a week format here in the next couple of weeks. But, I don't know if I really had a plan for all this. We just do, man. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
all
in
it is.
quarantine, everybody's sitting in front of their computer or their mobile device, and all of a sudden it's John died. It makes sense though, right? During quarantine, I mean, my screen time was up like 75% or something like that, ridiculous during the first week of quarantine. So why not get that content out there? Which is good for the roofers. Should have been doing that too, right? Getting that content going, right?
Dude, let me ask you this, Randy. Like through all of this, do you think that there's been a shift in the dynamics for local roofing contractors, as in who used to be like the big time, stable, year in and year out company has been around for 45 years, they've been the big players? I've noticed in my market in Indianapolis, a lot of the smaller, real nimble guys that know how to do social media marketing are killing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. Like it
Totally.
just evened it out, and you know, where it's crazy. I mean, I can't really take credit, but a lot of a lot of the members I'm working with are just like crushing right now, and Nick and you like you're seeing it as well. A lot of these companies
Mm-hmm.
are really set up to do really well and take advantage of the situation because of that. They're I like to you talk about the bigger you get, the harder it is to make adjustments, right? As a small company, you're kind of like a little speedboat. You can turn it quick and turn on a dime and make pivots and make adjustment. But as you grow, that 1 degree, changing something 1 degree takes a long time to actually execute, let alone turning a big, fast moving ship around or turn it a 90-degree angle. It just gives, I don't know, provided a lot of opportunity for these younger, smaller companies to really come up.
I think it was a huge opportunity. And for those that took advantage of it, you guys, kudos to you guys. Like you guys definitely took advantage of a really good situation that was not on anybody's radar. It just ran.
Right. Yeah.
And for those that missed out, I mean, I'm sorry.
It's not too late. Hey, here's the deal. It's not too late.
No, you're right. We're
in the beginning of the season, and things are really starting to pop off as hail trades predicted. They said it was going to be a pretty wild hail year. It hasn't quite got us in Colorado quite yet, but we're 20 degrees above average, building up high pressure. Something will happen eventually. But all over the place. Lots of good hailstorms in places that normally don't get hail, and we're seeing a lot of opportunity out there. So I've said this before, but now is the best time to be in the roofing space for sure.
For sure. And I think it's always seeing how this all has evolved though. It's like it's a whole new world though going out of this. And you're right, the opportunity is still there. It's just how are you going to capitalize on it? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to transition? And you're right, the guys that are smaller are killing it. The ones that are bigger, it's tougher. I was just thinking like our hailstorm hit here in Indy on a Saturday. Sunday, Aaron Christie here, Indy Roof Company locally. He was on my show, I think Tuesday or Wednesday the following week after that. He told me that on Sunday he had 25 leads.
Wow.
25 deals signed. I'm sorry. It was 25 deals
really
signed
dang
on Sunday during quarantine. And like right at the beginning, like when it was crazy. And then, from there he ended up with moving into, they ended up like with 70 deals within the first 3 or 4 days. When he came on the show, he was talking about it, and people like literally messaged me like, there's no way. And I'm like, dude, I know this guy. There is a way. There definitely is a way. It's totally possible. Yeah, he's brand new. He's only been around as a business owner for a couple years, but he just killed it. And
what was he doing? Why was he killing it? I mean, that's a lot of deals. What was he doing?
Facebook, man. As soon as the hail hit, it was like 7, 8 o'clock at night. That hail hit. He had gotten a photo of some hailstones from a realtor contact here locally, popped those things on Facebook, drew a radius, and had a map going, and he was running ads right away. And that was what was cool, was that he did it himself on his phone that night.
He did it?
Yeah, he did it himself. And then he was getting leads coming in, and he still can't shut them down. Like there's still so many leads coming in. But if you think about it, if it was a big company, they would have to get that content, send it off to their marketing agency, or maybe someone would do it internally, but it would probably be Monday before leads start running, right? And instead he was running leads from like just hours after the storm was going on. Yeah, while he heard the story. Yeah, while he was golfing. I remember that.
So wait, did you just do a video or something? Do you know what he was doing?
He literally just took the photos that he had and just said, "Hey, we know hail hit. If you saw this at your house, let me know. You probably got hail damage. And
So
sure
he took
enough,
a picture of like a hail damaged roof that he already
no,
had from previous.
just pictures of the stones, the literal hail stones
Oh,
that a
really?
realtor sent him, and he put those on his Facebook ad and said, if you
Hey,
had this at your house, let me know. I want to
while
help
he
you.
was golfing, Randy could maybe do
Yeah.
that too. While he's golfing, now he's like, all right, maybe
Yeah,
I'll do that.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that
yeah.
marketing
Now,
special.
yeah, he's all
Yep.
about that. Randy's got a marketing brain too. So, and he also loves the golf. So this could be right up your alley, Randy.
It was just rudimentary and it was real. That was the kicker. Like, this is why I like this so much more than I like doing the highly produced stuff. I find that there's so much more value in the Daily Show and in doing these things than there is in doing anything that's super highly produced. Like, we can make this look nice and use some nice equipment, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
This
is my webcam, you know, I mean, this is simple.
You think about the people who will spend, you know, $10,000 for a super high-end quality produced video, but then all of a sudden the distribution plan might not be there by the time that they wanted to use the video. The time's already passed because it took so long on the production side, right? And now it's like, well, what the heck, right? So you got to think, this guy did a Facebook ad of just a picture that a realtor sent him of hailstones, and he was able to upload that to the Facebook ad and got it going, right? So sometimes that perfection or that desire to make content that's so high end is almost just an excuse to not even make the content, you know?
Right.
And so, but dude, so we got to dive into the story a little bit here, right? So for those who don't know, right? So what's your deal? Who is John Dye, man? Where did you start from? Where were you born?
Let's go back.
I was looking forward
to this. I've been on your show. We've had a lot of conversations and groups together, and let's go back. Let's get to know John Dye. Where'd you come from? Like, what's your story, man?
So Nick, you're over in Wisconsin. Close to where I grew up. We've all been watching The Last Dance. I know, you know, I cried Sunday night. I'm from Chicago. I'm a Chicago boy. I was born on the west side. And I grew up in a construction family. My grandfather was a bricklayer. Great-grandfather was a blacksmith. My dad was a GC growing up, commercial GC. My dad's freaking amazing. He can build anything. And so I grew up in that world. My dad decided in 2000 to move from Chicago to Indy to go to seminary. So he moved down here, decided he wanted to go into ministry, become a preacher. And so when he did that, he sold his business, and we stumbled into roofing sales. Because I mean, what other job can you get into if you have a construction background that has really great hours, lets you go to school, and you can still make good money? And back in 2000, dude, it was a whole different world than it is today. But I'm named after my dad. I kind of worked with him. We worked really hard. I was probably 13 years old at the time. I'm climbing roofs, doing all the stuff, tossing the tape measures over the roof with the tennis balls on the end. We didn't have all the cool stuff like there is today. Our marketing strategy was, here's a bunch of flyers, put these on the doors. That's what I did.
like printed, right? Black and white, printed, like cut.
No.
We
use like pink paper or orange paper so you can really see it.
Oh yeah, great.
It wasn't just white, but yeah, that was the way to set it apart. But I would literally go around and drop those things. Later on, we ended up with these bags, like little baggies that we put on doors as we got more sophisticated with like little like.
And you'd roll the paper up, right, and put the bag and then rubber band.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And you set it on the door, and then they would call you, and that was our marketing strategy. And so that's what I did. I grew up around all that stuff. I went to seminary myself, was a youth pastor for a few years, and then got into the car business. I was buying and selling cars on eBay. Like, that was my world while I was in Bible college.
How was that? You like that?
I loved it. I got into really niche stuff. So like I was buying like special editions and different stuff. And this is when eBay was like super fun to sell cars.
Oh yeah.
Bid wars were, it was hot.
Yeah.
We were selling cars. This was back before the mortgage crash, and we ended up getting into some exotic stuff for a little bit. And it was all going to these guys that were mortgage brokers, like out in Pennsylvania and stuff. These jokers would call me up, say, "Hey, John, I want this Porsche with this thing." And I'm like 19, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go find it." Scurrying all over the country looking for cars that are like super high end. I had a Maserati that I drove for a while and literally got so many speeding tickets. It was unreal. But, that was my world. I mean, I was just some kid that some people decided to trust me with stupid amount of money and stupid amount of cars. And so I was like, whatever, let's do it. Probably overconfident at the time. So, but, I was a youth pastor. We moved to Ohio, and I decided to go sell roofs, man. I wanted to go get some of that roofing money. I had a friend of mine that managed a roofing company out there, so I went to work for him, and that's kind of what introduced me to supplementing, because I remember as a kid that, Dad would always write really, really detailed estimates. He knew how to do change orders. He knew how to get people to pay, and this was in the commercial GC world. And so that part of construction I got. When I started to get these scopes, and I mean in 2001, 2002, what was it? 3 trades and you get O&P. By 2010, this was about 2009, 2010, things had changed already. They had changed their guidelines. And so I started getting all these scopes, and I realized, man, this carrier's paying me for drip edge. This one's not. This one's got ice and water shield. This one doesn't. I got in a good hailstorm, got a whole bunch of jobs, and I'm looking at all this stuff. So I started writing out my own estimates, started dealing with insurance companies, and then sure enough, that's kind of what led me into supplementing. I started doing third-party supplementing a few months after that. First, just the people in the office. Then I went into actually bringing in other clients from other companies. And one of my one storm that I worked really hard was Manitowoc, Wisconsin, back in 2011, 2012, something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Big company out of Chicago was up there killing it, and they were sending me claims left and right. And that's what really started my career as far as supplementing. Became an adjuster during Hurricane Irma, did a lot of that stuff. And it was after that that we started Art of the Supplement, which was really just designed to be a way to train individual companies on how to do supplementing in-house and fire their third-party supplementer, right? Here I am wearing the shirt of like the largest third-party supplementing company. But the whole, literally, that was my sales pitch. You want to fire your third-party supplementer? Call me and I will help you. And I would fly to Texas, I'd fly to Colorado, I'd fly wherever, and I would spend 2 or 3 days with these companies and build an internal supplement department, only to have them end up calling Balance anyways. But, what we did was we found that there was a really cool market for this. And last year we started doing the boot camps, which was like, I wanted to do something where I could reach more contractors, because it was expensive to have me come out and do a bunch of, or at least it seemed expensive at the time. It's probably not that expensive anymore, but at the time it seemed expensive. And so we're going to do like a class that people can come to, pay a few $100, and they would get tons of value and pay for it like within the next claim. Because on average, we get about $2,500 per claim. So, I mean, if you learn how to do this stuff, you can get it quicker. It's going to be worth it. So we started doing boot camps. Balance caught on. And what they found that was funny was they were like sponsoring my events, because through their client acquisitions, they realized that they were starting to get like higher quality clients that were providing them with better data, with better, more information, which in turn makes the supplement process so much better for everybody. It makes Balance more money, and it makes the contractor more money. And
because you were educating them.
I was educating them. And so they were like, hey, we want to sponsor what you do. And so I started to get sponsored by them. And so I worked with them, and they ultimately, we ended up merging Art of the Supplement into Balance. And now it's got a whole long list of menus. We do master classes, which are like 4 weeks long, and we teach how to actually do the right estimates. I teach like it's a 4-week class, like it's really intensive. And then we have the boot camps, and we have online training options and like recorded stuff. And it's just become like a whole division of Balance claims internally. And that's the story like of how we got there. But I mean, I've done everything from installing a roof as a kid in high school. I did a church not too long ago, as they do these church in a day things for our church organization, and they'll travel around the country and literally build a church in a day. And one time I happened to be there, and my truck had a roofing company on the side of it, and they're like, "Hey, you can roof, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." Yeah. They're like, "Get your gun." And I had been running crews for a while out in Colorado Springs and stuff after those hailstorms a couple of years ago. And so I pulled out a brand new Hitachi gun, and I thought, I'm going to go shingle this church. I did like 20 squares by myself, and I was like, this is the worst job in the world. So, but it was, I've done all that stuff enough to understand construction. And I think you got to have some of that really good understanding, but I think a lot of people in our industry sometimes lack some of that. But especially in supplementing, because you don't know what you're doing for free if you really don't know what you're doing on the roof. And that's a lot of what we teach is, learn your craft so that you can know how to bill for it. It's like a medical billing department. You got to know what you're asking for, and it's got to be legitimate. If you're asking for drip edge and step flashing, but you're not actually replacing it, which I've never heard of a contractor doing this, right? But I've heard that it's possible that a contractor would do this, but if they're not actually replacing what they're asking for, that's why these guidelines exist. So having them see exactly what you're doing and showing them how you build roofs is really important to supplementing, because it's what sets you apart. And it's what makes you a really good contractor. And it's what makes the homeowners understand and like you more and learn your craft, because that craft is what's going to get you paid the right way.
Yeah.
Well, most contractors don't know that. They just look at it from, hey, I'm getting $320 a square. This is great. I can build this job. And I'm like, dude, you're getting $320 a square, but it's taking you 4 weeks of your time. You should be getting closer to $400 a square by the time you add in all the amount of legwork that's going into this job. Yeah, you do that job for $320 a square if they're going to pay you tomorrow, right after you finish the job. But are you going to do it for $320 a square and wait 4 weeks for your money? No, doesn't make sense. And that's why supplementing is so vital, because that's giving you that money back to really profit your business at that point and cover your overhead expenses.
So we had a few comments. We had Lawrence who said, "Good to see you, John Dye." We had Alex Dale saying, "Hey guys, sending someone your way tomorrow, nice. John." Thank you. Had Rachel Iverson saying, "Love your story, John."
Rachel, great people. That's why we love them.
And then we had Armando who says you can speak fluent Spanish, so he wants you to repeat the entire story now in Spanish.
Okay, so para mis amigos que hablan español, no, I do speak fluent Spanish. My mom's from Mexico, so I grew up. My dad actually pastored a Spanish church growing up after he got out of seminary. So yeah, we speak Spanish. I can sing in Spanish too. Don't tell anyone that. But I mean, being the preacher
now, man.
Being the preacher kid, you have to do that kind of stuff. So
yeah, if you guys stay till the end of the show, John will spend the last 5 minutes singing in Spanish.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, so.
And then we touch. Oh, go ahead. We're gonna say. I was gonna say.
I was gonna say Nathan Ellis is gonna say what up to you tomorrow, Randy. He just wanted to let you know. All right.
Yep, I saw that. Yeah,
right,
I'll be making sure. All right, now you do that. I was just gonna kind of touch a little bit on the experience thing. I mean, there are definitely some similarities. We kind of grew up in a contracting home, right? Again, I think my dad's the best carpenter since Jesus, right?
Right.
So he can build anything. Literally, I've watched him just build stuff, just create, and that growing up, and that's just kind of what got me the itch to be in that environment. But coming up, I got into supplementing. I was in fire and water restoration. I was a general contractor. I built over a dozen homes from the ground up before I ever even got into roofing. And I think that, by default, having that knowledge of just wood and nails and saws and what it takes to build a house and create, buildings and just understanding construction is such a has been a huge benefit and huge catapult to my career. And I think, this day and age with everywhere you turn, there's a million different education platforms, which is great, right? If you're not doing that, if you're not having a coach or education or virtual training or something, sorry, you're missing out, because that's accelerating people's careers. However, there's no training out there that can duplicate just straight up experience. You can learn a lot from a computer. You can learn a lot from a human being and mentoring and all that. But at the end of the day, you just got to get out and make things happen and learn and just put yourself in a situation to stretch your comfort zone and learn as much as you can.
Yeah. And it's, knowing how to do it is a first step. But contractors, look, man, if my dad walked into this room right now, he would tell me everything that's wrong with it. Okay. He would tell me why it's built wrong, why this shouldn't be installed. When I built my house a few years ago, my goodness, the crap that I put up with when he would walk into my house, he'd be like, why in the world are your drywallers doing things the way they're doing it? Why is your concrete that way? Why did you let him do this? Because he has his way of doing stuff. Mm-hmm. The problem is dad can't communicate that well to carriers.
Yeah.
And that's where the true art of the supplement is learning how to take that knowledge and translate it into a way that a carrier can understand it so that they can place a monetary value on it that's justifiable and execute a payment quickly. That's the real trick. And so that's really what I focus on, is understanding how you present things. The way you write an estimate, that's a communication. Most contractors don't realize that. I had one come through my class a few weeks ago through the master class, and I always start out by giving them a claim, okay, write this claim, give me an estimate back on this, and they send it back, and I go through them, and I'm like, okay, this is why these people are here, because they definitely need help. But you get one that thinks they know what they're doing, and then they show me this thing, and they got all caps lock in their F9 notes with underlines and like, and I'm like, okay, I can't read this because this is a pain to read. Like this is literally painful to try to figure out what you're trying to communicate to me right now. Like little things like that are so important to just be able to communicate and understand that the person that's reading this does not have the same level of experience that you do in construction. In fact, they've probably never built anything in their life. And you have to explain to them why you're having to install step flashing the way that you're installing it. Why do you have to detach and reset that siding?
Because my roofer told me so.
Exactly. You see, that's the answer. There's never, and they don't think of it in terms of how is an adjuster that is a line level adjuster going to explain this to their 17 bosses above them as to why they made the decision to pay that bill or to pay that line item.
Yep.
If you don't have that, that's
you nailed it right there. Is you have to write and create these supplements in a way that a whole line of people can look at it and come to the same conclusion.
Right.
Exactly. It's the frontline person only has a certain limit. I used to be an adjuster. We had a limit. I could only authorize X amount of dollars.
Yep.
And then if it got above that, I had to have a manager, and then and so on and so forth. And it climbs the ladder and even goes to different departments nowadays.
Yep.
Depending on what the situation is, you have to be able to write something and articulate it in a way that makes their job to approve something easy and no brainer.
And what's funny, Randy,
that's the key.
Well, you just said I used to be an adjuster. I used to be an adjuster too. Why am I not an adjuster right now? Why are you not an adjuster right now?
That job sucks.
That job sucks, and it doesn't pay anything anymore. Why? Used to be. It used to be a
pay on a
job.
hurricane, right? If you go work a hurricane, you can make money. But the thing is, what my challenge was, and I didn't actually get that far into hurricanes. I was working hailstorms, but you get a phone call, right? You have 48 hours to be on site. And when you're on site, they pile 100 claims on you, and you're like, okay, go at it. You're getting 7, 8 a day.
300 when I went to Irma.
It's
insane. In my inbox, 300 claims. I'd never adjusted in my life, and they gave me 300 claims.
Yeah, so then you're working 7 days a week. You don't know when you're going to go home. Your quality of life is next to nothing. Yeah, sure, you could make $250,000 or more.
Well, but it used to be a lot more.
Willing to work that crazy.
And the thing was, the good adjusters made really good money. I mean, Steve Patrick talks about all the time, like adjusters used to make really good money. The key is right now, though, adjusters don't make good money anymore. The carriers have figured out that it's not beneficial for them to have really highly educated adjusters out in the field. They want people that are going to follow what's called guidelines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have guidelines.
They're using drones. They're doing virtual inspections now with COVID. I mean, I got a chat going with my guys right now talking about how Allstate is just telling them, all right, just go out and do a drone or send me some pictures and we'll try to approve it from there.
Right.
Okay.
And so what does that mean?
They're denying it. And then they're just using it as an excuse to deny it, and then deny, and the whole deal.
But when you're
hold on though.
Yeah.
Let's hold that thought. Hold that thought, because this show would not be possible without our sponsors. So we got to take a minute while we got a lot of people watching to take care and mention our sponsors. And the first and foremost relationship that we've from the beginning, Job Nimbus has been a huge supporting sponsor of us. Without their support, the show wouldn't exist. There's a lot, as a lot goes into these shows.
Yep.
But working with a lot of contractors, how important is it to have technology and to have a CRM system that can help you with your supplementing process? We're talking about supplementing, and one of the big reasons why we dove in and used Job Nimbus is we were able to completely customize and completely build out a workflow that worked simultaneously with our production department and supplementing all at once, all in one system. Our supplementers have Job Nimbus access. They work through the whole system, and once the job is complete, it goes to the next thing. And there we go. We got a Job Nimbus hat
on.
Look at this Let's
guy,
go.
Dude. Look at this guy.
Come on, sponsors
He's good at what he does. He's good at what he does.
Very much so. So if you're looking into a CRM, you want to have a customizable platform, and you want to really dial in your supplementing process, take the art of the supplement, mix that with Job Nimbus, and it's a blend.
Boom.
We do 1,000 roofs seamlessly, and it rocks. So I would definitely check out Job Nimbus. And for those of you listening on the podcast, go to jobnimbus.com.
Yes, sir.
We love Job.
And then also, man, hey, Randy, so if you're looking to get accurate roofing codes from any device, mobile, desktop, you name it, anywhere, instantly, where are you going, my friend?
OneClickCode. You heard it. You heard the OneClickCode reports, my friend.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, my friend, my good friend Garrett Kurt, man, we used to sell roofs together back in 09, back in the day, right? Knocking doors, slinging roofs, like two of the top guys at one of these big companies here in Denver. And he was always just a really, really sharp guy, always thinking outside the box. And again, kind of the same career path as you. Sold roofs and then dove into doing the adjusting. And then he got into becoming a PA and became large loss adjusting and focused on like multifamily and stuff like that. And we just got, especially in Colorado, you've worked in Colorado.
Yep.
I have over 50 licenses, all of them with little nuances and little differences with the codes. We don't know, like from one block to the next, does this require ice and water? Does it not require ice and water? Is it drip edge? What is the code? We don't know all the time. Is it a 1 square rule? All these sort of things. And he came up, starting in Colorado, came up with a platform where you just click once, enter the address, and he prints out a report that the insurance carriers are now accepting as a valid third-party report, and you give them that report, and it will help you with your supplementing. So this is a perfect segue for this. Started in Colorado, and boom, next thing you know, a year later, he's all over the entire country, and OneClickCode is blowing up. So if you're doing supplementing, I would definitely recommend checking out OneClickCode. And for those of you listening to the podcast, oneclickcode.com. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
In order to become a claims master, you have to show me that you can use OneClickCode.
Boom.
I'm not kidding. Like, it's serious. Like, it's part of it's part of my curriculum. It is, man. It's good stuff. We love OneClickCode.
When's your next virtual boot camp, my friend?
Week from Friday.
Week from
May
Friday?
29th. Yeah, we had one this last Monday. We got one coming up May 29th, on Friday, May 29th. And then June 2nd.
How can people check that out?
LearnToSupplement.com.
LearnToSupplement.com.
LearnToSupplement.com. That's where the tickets are. They can message us at the Art of the Supplement page, or check us out on our Facebook group, Art of the Supplement Nation. We got all that information there. So
cool. I just put the link in the notes and the show notes too, in the show comments.
Awesome.
Man. All right, let's bring it back in. I told you to hold that thought because I completely lost it. But you fire back away. Where were we? Let's go.
No, we were talking about what were we talking about? Man, we talked about a lot of really cool stuff here.
I know.
We were talking about adjusters,
right?
No, I think we were talking about adjusters and guidelines.
Yeah.
And like, at the end of the day, everyone complains about the guidelines, but they forget that carriers are what? They're big multi-billion-dollar corporations that have shareholders and boards and corporate governance and government that's looking over their shoulders every step of the way. And they build these guidelines, and contractors always wonder, well, why in the world aren't they just paying for this stuff up front? But the reality is, contractors don't always. How many contractors reuse step flashing? How many contractors?
None I know of.
Well, none that you know of, right? But I've come across it. I've seen too many files from having 700 clients here at Balance. We see some crazy stuff. How many contractors reuse drip edge? This kind of the stuff is out there. SIU goes out, they do their investigation, and say, okay, you know what, contractors, some are paying for it, some are not. Why would they not? Why would they pay for that stuff up front if they can shave off an additional $2,500 per claim just by imposing these guidelines on the carriers, or on the contract, or on the adjusters, forcing the contractor to provide them with the proof that they are actually going to do it? That's all that supplementing really is providing the justification, giving them all the photos, giving them all the documentation so that they can. So when you go into a file, when you call an adjuster, when you give them this information, you want to give it all to them in one piece so that they can take that and work with all that evidence, and they know that it's indisputable. But how many times do contractors give an adjuster just like a basic Xactimate that's rewritten with maybe some really crummy photos, not using company cam, and then they're like, hey, here's what we got, we need to get this paid for, and the adjuster's just like, great, I would love to pay for this because I don't really want to be unreasonable, but if I pay for this, I would probably lose my job.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way, and what we don't realize is that those of you who are watching and paying attention and following the podcast and following John and doing the things that we talk about, you're crushing, right? But you're still a small minority in the grand scheme of things as far as contractors go. Yep. From an insurance company's perspective, they're going to write 10 claims. All 10 claims are going to be undervalued. Maybe 30% of the contractors are going to actually supplement that claim. Who's winning? Who's winning in that scenario?
Yep. The carriers.
They have, like you just said, the carriers are still winning. Yep. So watch this, share this, and let's all rise. I mean, there's no point of us out there cutting. What happens is you got to be cheaper, and then you got to be cheaper, and then you got to be cheaper, and then you got to be cheaper. Next thing you know, you know, we're a commodity of just being the cheapest guy out there, especially in some of those markets, you know, Texas, it gets challenging, right? Where it's just everybody undercutting everybody because really they just don't know any different.
Right.
So our job and your job, and that's why you and I connect a lot, is we're out here just trying to share knowledge to improve the industry and help others come up to a higher level to make more money and to
but it's
bond
not
together
about
to
just
win this
making
battle.
more money though, dude. Like that's not
No.
the key. Like that's not why we do what we do. Yeah,
Well, making the money you deserve.
It's exactly, it's shielding your profit. It's protecting your business so that you can leave a legacy, so that you can pay your people well, so that you can build an amazing organization and you can grow your company. That's what this is. This is like someone was talking about this the other day. They were like, they said something, they called us a keyboard roofer or something on Facebook on one of our balance ads. And I was like, man, thank you so much for supporting us. You know, it's really, because he said, you know, another keyboard roofer, support local roofers is what he said. I said, man, thank you so much for supporting us. You know, we have 700 clients that we support all across the country, and we are helping the local roofers. Not only that, we have 40 W-2 employees that sit in an office too that had to get paid, and we're an essential service at the end of the day. And by providing this stuff, like people think, oh, it's just padding the bottom line. It's not just padding the bottom line. It's keeping you from doing work for free. You are working for free if you're not supplementing.
Yep. We average 23.7% is what our average supplement is.
Yep. And that's
okay. And after commission, this is real talk, man. I track this stuff like crazy, right? Real talk. That is nearly all of the gross profit.
Yep.
You know, if you're landing at 20 to 35% after, you know, paying commissions, all the things you got to pay, supplement fees, the whole 9 yards, that's your entire profit margin in a lot of cases. You're making no money for not supplementing. You're literally working for free.
You are literally, and not figuratively, in really, you know, in all reality, you are, because you are not getting paid for all the stuff that you're doing. So,
and here's the other challenge that's been exposed. And to people's credit, they just don't know what they don't know, right? Very few roofers have business knowledge and business experience, right?
Yep.
They come in from a sales perspective, or they were an adjuster, or they seen some roofer with a big truck, and I can make money. Okay, great. And what they don't realize is that, you know, from a business perspective, you got to run your business by the numbers. And with hailstorms and the way we just can scale up real quick and flood the pipeline, and then all of a sudden you get this huge AR and you just struggle to collect that. But at the end of the day, your margin is almost nothing, but you don't know that until it's too late.
Right.
And that's a big reason why contractors fail. And that's a huge reason why we started the academy, is to teach business. Like that's our whole focus, is to teach business principles to good people that have a good, you know, good heart and that want to do things the right way, that just don't know what they don't know. Our job is to try to educate them and teach them the business and how to run their company by the numbers. And that's what it's all about. And I think that that's something that, you know, education and sharing and teaching business is huge in this industry to help everybody, really.
No, that's absolutely right. And that's why we started Art of the Supplement. It wasn't because, you know, I mean, we can run a really successful supplement company. That's not a big deal. We find that our success is really multiplied several times over when a contractor understands this stuff. We rely on that data so vitally to our success. If you want to be successful with a supplementing company, doesn't matter who it is, you have to have the knowledge to give them the right information. And that's the kicker there. And that requires you to sit down and learn something and be trained in those areas so that you can produce the right file for us. We can't help it. Like, I mean, when a contractor calls me and says, John, and it's some of the most frustrating times to have conversations, because you're like, dude, I could totally get this stuff paid for had you given me 4 more photos. Had you taken the time to give me just a little bit more data, I can get that. That's not a problem. But I can't
10 minutes. That 10 minutes it takes around 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
To go up on the roof and take a picture of that damaged step flashing that you cannot replace, or that it's being damaged as it's being removed.
Yep.
We have a hard time with our salespeople and everybody. They're coming along or getting crews. That one photo. How much is that one photo worth?
It could
in the grand scheme of things.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, on that job alone, imagine that it's a $10,000 job, right? If I can get you an extra $800 because you gave me 2 more pictures, Come on.
Is it worth the 10 minutes? You're already on the job site. You should be already on the job site or close to the job
Not
site.
just that, but think of what you just gave away, probably a few $100s worth of material too. I mean, how much? Step flashing is not cheap.
No,
drip edge isn't cheap.
Yeah,
valley liner's not cheap. I'm sorry, that stuff's not cheap, guys. Like, I know what it costs, and you just are giving it away when you should be getting paid for it. And that's the bottom line. That's what it comes down to: is what work are you doing for free? How important is that to your business? But in order to know that, you're right, Randy. You got to know your numbers. You got to know what your business really is doing. You got to know your cost of goods sold. You know, everyone's running a cash, versus accrual. Like, we can go into all that stuff. That's a whole nother world. But you got to know what your real profit margins are and what it takes to make things happen and what you're actually doing every day when you're installing a roof. And if you don't realize that, you're just throwing an order together saying, oh man, lump sum in my material and here's my labor and I made X amount of dollars, and you're not breaking it down the way the carriers want you to. You could do lump sum. Like, I don't want to get into lump sum versus Xactimate argument, but I will just say this. It will take you a lot longer to do it that way. And my thing is, we're all about efficiency, speed. Money loves speed. Okay. The faster you can get to that endpoint and get that sales cycle. I mean, when I see a company that has 45, 50, 60-day sales cycle because of supplementing a lot of times, that's scary to me. That means something's broken inside that business. And so that's what I focus on, bringing that sales cycle down to where you can get your money so much faster if you just communicate it the right way, give them the right justification, and put it all in a nice, neat package and send it off, rather than trying to convince an adjuster over the phone. You can have the best sales skills in the world, but if you are not going to be able to convince someone to give you money just because they like you, especially not in the insurance world, it's just not going to happen. You got to have these things done. And that's what this is all about. That's what Art of the Supplement's all about. That's what balance is all about. We want to be fast, but we got to have that data. We got to have that information. And so it's a perfect marriage for us to help the industry. And that's the ultimate goal, is to help the industry and help companies become really good at this part of it. It's like a billing department, man. It's like I have a friend.
That's a whole nother can of worms. Yeah, is and we're actually, I'm working on a solution for that. I gotta say hush about it. I guess
can you give a little info? Can you give a little
info? There's about 4 people who actually watch this show, so it shouldn't get out too far. But so the internal solution we've come up with. But once a job is supplemented, I mean, whether you, and again, at no point would I ever, and I know I'll speak for John, would I ever have someone to recommend supplement something you're not doing. If you're not doing the work, it's not do not cheat the system. Do not ask.
It's not worth it.
Only ask for what you're doing. If it's on the claim, just leave it there.
Yeah.
Don't change, just leave it there, right? But the key is there's a lot of random stuff on claims. And what happens is when the job gets completely finalized, you get that final paperwork and you try to jumble through 8 pages of line items trying to figure out how to make an invoice that looks and reflects exactly what you built in that job, and get that to a homeowner in a way that they can understand it. That's a whole nother can of worms that we have to deal with, so again, there's some solutions in the works, but I mean, a good spreadsheet, taking the time to go through that final paperwork.
Well, having
this
your
is
facts.
what we did. This is what we didn't do.
Yeah.
And this is the line items to match that and the totals to match that. Don't be billing for stuff you didn't do. Don't be, ripping homeowners off by even taxes, right? If 80% of the job is the roof and gutters, and you did the roof and gutters, and 20% is other things you did not do.
Yeah.
Only 80% of those taxes should be on your invoice.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so that's a whole nother topic, but be cognizant of the billing cycle at the back end as well.
The reality is, though, contractors like to use certain items as negotiation tactical items in their world. I hear this all the time when we're doing a class as well. I put this and this in there because that's negotiable. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe I'm like, no. Are you doing it? Right? Or the porta potty. Okay. Are you doing it or are you not? If you are, then by all means ask for it. But if you're not, don't even. Why would you even go there? Like, why would you jeopardize your integrity by saying, "Hey, I want this porta potty paid for," even though we're not going to use it? It just doesn't make sense. But that's a common misconception on what supplementers really do. We don't ask for stuff that isn't legitimate. We're going to ask for what is actually factual. How much is the true waste? Man, we can get a true waste. I can I can go all night talking about true waste.
Let's get Kyle Larson going on that too.
Get Mark Craney over here, and we'll talk about true waste, and it'll go nuts because true waste is a massive money loser though for us. Misuse of Xactimate line items is a major source of money waste for us. The fact that the proper line items aren't being applied. I'm sorry, starter in RidgeCap is not included in the waste. It's not. No. I don't care. I'm just telling you. But how do you explain that to an adjuster that has a guideline set up that says that that says I can't pay for it? It's included in the waste. It's according to our guidelines. You got to have some really, really strong factual arguments and things that are not just coming from your opinion, but coming from actual sources that will say this is the true waste. This is why this can't be done. If you really want to bundle it up, then I need 36.2% waste.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention the variable labor rates too. I mean, labor rates are crazy all over the country, and they just think that's here you go. They're the same labor across the board. It's supposed to have a certain built-in margin,
but it's 2.4 times higher.
Yeah, it gets crazy. But again, we're to the point where it's like this is the actual cost. This is the actual margin that you've built into your system. Here's the adjusted price, and here's why. Pay it.
The cool thing is there's just like some really awesome tools out there that will fix these problems that are coming. They're coming out as solutions for us. The key is learning how to take those tools and apply them to your estimate, and it does all the work for you at the end of the day, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is to make it as easy as possible, as efficient as possible. And what's funny is, we talk about this supplementing thing. I mean, to me, it's like, it's almost, I've been doing it for so long, Randy, like, Nick, like I've been doing supplementing. Like, to me, it's like, why would you not do it? Because it makes no sense why anybody would ever fight me on whether or not they want to supplement. But yet I still have the same conversations day in and day out of, man, it'll take me so much longer. I'm like, are you kidding me? It should not take you much longer to supplement. It should never. It shouldn't. Or they've had bad experiences with supplement companies, or that I understand that happens. But at the end of the day, like supplementing is like it's a no brainer. Like literally, I walk around this office right now. We sell money.
Yeah.
How else can I say it?
Yeah.
Like you give me the right stuff, I will literally give you money back. That's a lot more than what I'm going to charge you.
You give me pictures, I give you money.
Yes, you give me 15 cents, I will give you $1. That's how it works. And it's so silly. Like it's like why are we even having this conversation? Like this is a no-brainer. Everyone should be doing this. If you can't do it yourself, call us, call SFY, call Aftermath, call Max Claims, call somebody needs to do this for you because you are literally leaving money on the table. And it doesn't have to be us. I'm just saying, like in general, like just get it done. Find someone to help you.
Right.
I'll be happy to teach you guys how to do it.
Or learn it, but realize that if you're going to spend all your time supplementing, then you're cutting away from your running your business, building your business, selling deals. So I'm all about use a third party. I've been using a third party. I'm an ex-adjuster, and I still have always used a third party because I see the value in letting someone else handle that and letting me focus on my business.
Yep, it does. I totally agree with that. At the end of the day, though, if you guys want to learn how to do it and learn what stuff you guys need to be looking for, learn how to position your policyholder. That's stuff that we talk about. Like I go into like insurance policies and explain like, hey, when you're banging your head against the wall and you're calling me and saying the adjuster keeps saying that they don't owe for that, could be they don't owe for it. Maybe you need to read a deck page and understand what's actually included in that policy. And if they don't owe for it, you should still get paid for it, but your policyholder should be paying you for it. I just had that conversation with a homeowner. I may or may not be moonlighting a few deals here and there. I mean, you can never stop. But
I know. We talked the other day. You're like, "Oh, I'm out selling roofs." But
I know I was. And so,
like, what are you doing?
This homeowner had an exclusion in his policy. They're not going to pay for the drip edge. He doesn't have drip edge on this freaking amazing house. And I'm like, "Look, man, this is what you got to pay out of pocket." And he said, "Well, can you just throw that in as part of the deal?" That's literally what he said to me. And I said, no, I will literally walk right now. I don't care. Like I'm not going to
signed a contract that had this in there that said,
exactly.
No, I'm not.
You can talk to your agent and argue with them about it all day long, but they gave you a discount because of this. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't work for free. I apologize. And sure enough, like he said, look, and I said, look, if the Valley Liner's there, I'll be sure to get the insurance company to pay for it. But if it's not there, I have to charge you for it because you do not have this coverage in your policy. There's nothing that I can do to get around this. They're not going to pay for it. You have to talk to your agent about it. And at the end of the day, he respected that enough to say, John, I want to go with you, and I will pay whatever to do that. And I said, great. We'll be happy to do business. But at the end of the day, what did I do though? What did I really do by doing that?
Provided some value.
I qualified.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because what if I had said, oh, you know what, Mr. Homeowner, I'm gonna just go ahead and give you that for free. I'm gonna throw that in there. When does it stop with that homeowner at that point?
Yeah.
It doesn't stop, right? Like they just keep going and going and going. They're gonna see what they can get for free all day long. But by me standing my ground saying, look, you want to go with me? You want this type of shingles? I will put this type of shingle on your house. I will give you this grade of this. I will do that stuff because that's the way we do business. And I will inspect your property. I will do all the things of value that I do for a homeowner. I will do. But guess what? I will not do it for free. Right. Do you care about your beautiful home that much? You got a $750,000 house sitting here, which in Indianapolis, that's a lot. In Denver, I know it's not a whole lot. I mean, that's probably like 1.2 in Denver. But I'm like, if you're going to sit here, just to give you an idea of what kind of house this was, am I going to, you love your house. Do you want it to be the code? You want it to be right. Are you cool with paying this? If not, I'm totally cool with you finding someone else to do the work. And I hope it goes well. And he respected me enough to do that. And guess what? I qualified that guy just with that one conversation. Yep. Had I said no, man, it would have never ended. He would have taken every step that he could have, and he would have tried to cut every corner at that point. Because
you just become like every other salesman.
Become just like every other salesman.
Like every other salesman, right?
And for me, it might be a little easier because I'm just like, hey, this is a side gig. Like I'm just doing this to help somebody out. But at the end of the day, like I'm not scared to walk in. That is the most powerful position you can be in as a salesperson.
100%.
Yep. That was before the laws. That's how we got out of the deductible issues. Like we're willing to walk because we're not willing to defraud the insurance company.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. Like when we put our foot down and said, we are not, this was before the law. We said, we are not roofing houses with giving away deductibles. And guys freaked out. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And we're like, no, we're going to retrain you and really become salespeople. We're going to put our foot down. And guess what happened? We grew. And then SB 38 came out and made it a lot easier for us. And then people still give away deductibles, even though there's a law there. But we haven't covered deductible in
you guys
how many years.
And
we grew tremendously because of that. And our reputation grew. It was a major positive thing. So for those of you out there that think you have to give crap away, give away deductibles, you don't. You gotta, stand your ground and be a good person, good salesperson, qualify like he said, and you're gonna see some good results.
But supplementing, the reason why I even bring that up during the class is because you have to know what you're dealing with to even have that type of conversation with someone or to even understand it. And you're not violating UPPA by doing this. You're just learning, but you're basically telling them, hey, look, if you have a problem with this, you need to talk to your adjuster or talk to your insurance company, talk to your agent, whoever sold you this policy, but this is the part that you have to pay for. And this is the part that they pay for. That's all it is. But learning how to maneuver this stuff and being able to forecast a job, you got to know this stuff. You got to know how insurance works. If you want to play in the insurance game, if you're expecting an insurance company to pay for the roof, and you're going to go down that road, learn what that actually means. It's not RCV versus ACV. There's so much more that goes into it beyond that. And it's understanding, having that knowledge will set you apart in so many ways besides just supplementing. It'll help you tremendously in supplementing, but it's going to help your entire organization become so much more educated to where they'll be able to see these things from a mile away and be able to make better decisions that are going to help your business. And you can start to get OMP too, which is a whole nother situation, but we won't go into that.
Yeah. We're coming towards the end here, and we could go all day on all these subjects. So we're probably going to have a continuation at some point here.
We'll have to do an episode 2 or part 2, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Anytime, you guys. And Randy, you got to come back on the show too. I definitely want to have you back. Nick, come on.
Let me know, man.
I love it, man. I love it,
man, brother. It'd be awesome. So we'll have a mini Start Build Grow show one day.
I mean, all right. I love that.
I'm all for it. We'll advertise it like that. So
I'm in. Let's go. I'm in for sure. I love that. So as we bring this thing to close, man, we always end it with a gold nugget, man. Something that you want to scream out to the roofing contractors or all out there, man, to plead them to do this or avoid this, or whatever it might be, implement this. You tell me. Leave these guys with a gold nugget, man, that they can take and help them grow their business.
Don't work for free. That's our gold nugget, man. Especially right now during COVID, everything else. I mean, if we get into marketing and stuff, there's a whole lot of gold nuggets. But when it comes to supplementing, understand that you are working for free if you're not supplementing. Stop working for free. Get paid for everything that you do, because that's how you can have a business. That's the bottom line.
You're not doing this for fun, man. You're in this to make money at the end of the day, right? Provide opportunities for other people, right? So
absolutely,
don't work for free, guys. Don't work. Well, we had John Dye, man. He might be the most seen dude on Facebook nowadays with this daily roofing show and everything that he had going for, what, 40 days, you say, straight?
40 days straight, man.
40 straight days, man. John Dye during quarantine.
Wasn't that when it rained? 40 days.
That's like a biblical thing,
it's biblical, right? It was 40 days, 40 shows.
That was intentional, right there.
That was intentional, absolutely. Now that the sun has come back, the rain has seceded. we stepped away.
All we needed was some John Dye.
We're gonna start calling you Noah.
Noah, that's right. I built an ark. The daily roofing show was the ark to get us through the COVID. No, those of you guys that joined us, you guys are all doing well. I'm sure the rest of you guys, everyone died. So.
Well, you could. Where do we find you, my friend? We want to catch up on some of those episodes. We want to follow John Dye.
We're on YouTube.
Let us know. Let the podcasters know.
Yeah, we're obviously we have a podcast on what is that? Apple?
Apple, iTunes. Yeah, iTunes.
That one company.
Yeah. Art of the Supplement. We're there. We've got the Art of the Supplement show that still goes on. We've got the daily show on that shows up on the Art of Supplement. That's on the Catalyst Group page as well, which the Catalyst Group, by the way, is free for anybody to join. If you're a roofer, you should join it. And then we also have the RoofCon Revolution show every Tuesday night, which, Randy, we got to get you on that too, for sure. RoofCon Revolution, that's happening. That's also on the podcast in the audio only form. And then we've got, what else we got? Well, we're going to start the new show. We haven't announced it yet, so I can't even tell you what it's called because I haven't spent enough time on my sailboat to tell you that yet. So I'll get that answer to you guys hopefully by next week. So after today, this is the last thing I have to do this week before, some little meetings and stuff, but everything else is happening on the sailboat. So
cool, man.
But no, guys, that's where you can find it. We've got learnthesupplement.com, artofthesupplement.com, Supplement Masterclass, and onlinesupplementtraining.com. Those are all
cool. I put a bunch of these links in the comments. See, I got your YouTube channel, man. I got your website for the virtual boot camps. I put the Catalyst group in the comments as well, so that's all on there.
No, I appreciate you guys. You guys are killing it. Randy, I look up to you a lot. I think you guys are definitely inspiration for us, man. So
awesome job, man. I really respect what you're doing, John.
If there's anything
I could ever brother, keep it up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's stay connected, man.
And all you guys roofers, man, stay strong. This is all good. I don't think we're all gonna die. No one's gonna go out of business, hopefully. And if you do, I'm sorry, but hopefully everyone. I think there's gonna be a huge amount of opportunity moving forward. So power on.
And if you do want to figure out like how to get to the next level, if you're struggling, if you need some advice, give me a call. I do free calls every single week, and feel free to hit me up at theroofingacademy.com and click on book a call.
And Randy, you guys are killing it at the Roofing Academy. I can't imagine trying to get through something like this without someone like you in my life. As a roofer, there'd be no way, because there's just so much that you guys can learn from a guy like Randy, and I definitely look up to you guys. Thank you so much.
Like you guys said before, you learn from the experience, man. Randy Brothers got it here, man. He's been up, he was down, and now he's up, man. So he's done it all. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on episode 104 of the Start Build Grow Show.
Yeah, hey, hold on a second. Hold on before we leave. Latif said something here.
Oh, with the beard crap, dude. Okay, so with the beard stuff, dude. So the beard stuff, he called me out a couple weeks ago, and then so I went like 3 days without shaving, and I had like these like strangly hairs hanging, dude. It's like this awful little thing going. I was like, dude, I just can't do it, dude. I just can't do it, because then it's like, dude, I might as well have no beard rather than some like, like half done, like little string hairs. It's just not look good, man. I gotta go with the baby face, man. That's my look, dude, and I've been rocking it for.
You own your look, man.
I own my look, dude.
I cover up this ugly mug with a beard, so it is what it is.
Exactly. But no, so I tried it 3 days, I gave up. That was it, guys. But I tried. All right, guys.
All right, thank you so much. God bless everyone. Take care.
Nice.
Yeah. Hold on.
Hey guys, that was cool.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining us here. Hold on, let me just.
Recording.
Yeah, hold on. I might still be recording. Let's